Personally, I like four-legged ones with tails. We're not particular. If you look around, we've got Durocs, we've got Hampshires, we've got Tamworths, we've got Blue Butts, you know, we've got Berkshire crosses, like whatever. As long as they're healthy pigs, they do just fine in this environment. The one thing I would tell you to avoid would be something like a large black, which can take up to 10 months to finish, or even American guinea hog, unless you've got a niche market with some chefs or high-end grocery stores or something like that, maybe charcuterie. You could make those pigs work really well, but for, again, production, and when I say production, I mean we're actually feeding people pork, not selling overpriced breeding stock, okay? Production pigs are going to have access to grain, and we want something that's going to finish out in about 6-7 months. Probably the biggest thing is to put them in the woods. Like I said, we started out doing them on pasture, and it works okay, but the woods work much better. And the other thing is just using as much permanent infrastructure as you can for the pigs in the woods. Building these permanent paddocks has worked really well for us. We need to build more of them so we can rotate them more in line with what our holistic context tells us we want to do. That's something we're going to be working on in the very, very near future, but those are the two big things, is to spend the money on infrastructure and put them in the woods. So one thing I want to point out is that we're basically building high-tensile fence in the woods for our pigs the exact same way we build the cattle fence. The big difference, two big differences, our posts here are only about 10 to 12 feet apart. Actually, these are pretty close to 12 feet. We want those to be a little bit closer than our 16-foot line spacing we have for the cows. We want less flex in these wires. The other thing I want to point out is down here, we've got our first 5 wires 3 inches apart. That's just to make sure those piggies, when they're down here looking through there with their nose, don't want to try to go out. Then we go up to 6 inches. We actually started out doing this with 6-inch spacing. Had a couple of escapees, pretty good sized pigs, get their nose in there and they can spread those wires and get right out. So we use 3-inch spacing down low. Again, the wire is the cheap part of the system. While you're putting it in, drill the holes and pull the wire. It's 2 cents a foot. It's very cheap, and you sleep a whole lot better at night, knowing you got more wires to keep your animals in. The other big advantage is when, not if, but when a tree falls on this, you've got more wires to support the weight of that tree to, hopefully keep your animals in. We've actually had a large ash tree in this paddock fall and hit the fence, and it broke the first wire and knocked the wires down, and they stopped right about there. It was high enough that our 300-pound pigs, all 6 of them, didn't get out. In fact, they were laying down right next to it. Could have hopped out, but didn't. The fence did its job. Very quick, very easy to repair. Just wanted to point out a couple of key differences if you're building high-tensile fence in the woods for your pigs versus high-tensile fence in the pasture for your cows.